So I want to go over. I do RV, remote viewing, prophetic dreams. I do a lot of that kind of stuff on this page, and prophecy, if you will. And I study those kind of things. And so, what I come across a lot when I study these things is like there's a huge pool to pull from of so-called Christians, right? And they say, "Oh, I had a dream, a prophetic dream." Mind you, they never prophesy anything, but they'll say, "I had a prophetic dream." I mean, you talk about some of the most deluded people that you want to ever find on the planet. Now, this woman, I'm going to go over her dream, and I'm just going to break down um, basically uh, some of the, I don't know what to call it, delusions of these people. I don't know if we call it delusions or craziness of people. She also tries to quote the Bible, misquotes the Bible, calls Jesus God, and all this kind of stuff. And I just want to show and point out um, just some of the madness that the whole um, make it up as you go, stuff in America, right? Their society is just, they say it's up for interpretation or whatever. They have a make it up as you go vibe in America. And this woman has that. She's one of these so-called Christians. And so I'm just going to go over her dream and show you how not to look at certain things, right? And just point out, and then I'll probably pull up some of the, some Bible verses too, and to show you that what she's saying, like she's saying, my dream is a prophetic dream, boom, boom, boom. Her dream doesn't line up with prophecy or the Bible. Let's go.
Received it to really pray about it, and boy did the Lord confirm it, and in the usual way that he does, a very unique and very cool way, he confirmed it multiple times actually over the weeks. So anyways, okay, so yes, let's get to the dream. So basically we were in a cave, and when I say we, there was multiple people with me in this cave, and this cave was really huge and really vast. It was very, very vast and very dark and very empty. It was by no means any sort of cave that you could just, oh, hey, let's go inside and explore and let's take our flashlight and walk around. Like, no, you couldn't. Like, the floor, the ground had like this big crevice. There was no ground to walk on. This cave wasn't meant for people, but we were in there because it was the only safe place that we could find. And the only way to get around was by like literally clinging on to the sides of the rocky wall and just maneuvering your way around just to get deeper into the cave, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. And that's what the whole group of us were doing. But we were doing it. There was so much dread and fear and terror in this dream that we felt. It was very heavy. And the reason is because we were being pursued by somebody very deeply evil and sinister, and they were pursuing us for our lives, and we were hiding for our lives.
So this woman. She dreamt that they were hiding in a cave, and they were being pursued because they were going to be destroyed. And she said that the forces that were pursuing them were sinister and evil. And she goes on to say, I'm gonna play it, that they were being pursued because they were Christian. They were not being pursued because they were Christian. She's being pursued because of who she is and where she comes from. And this is her judgment. This is their judgment. And so a lot of times when you're in impending danger, you'll have a dream, a psychic dream, and a precognitive dream to show you what's going to happen. Now, it's called kinesiology, right? Like your body is warning you of something that's going to happen in the future, and she's having a kinesiologic response to what's about to happen to them soon, in the next couple of years, over the next couple of years, and she's misinterpreted it as um, something sinister, and it's not something sinister. It's called judgment. So she sees her judgment of her and her people being chased and running and having to hide in caves from judgment, and she sees it as an evil thing. You see, she sees judgment as evil and sinister. Of course you would, because you think you're never supposed to be judged. The way you look at the world, you think that judgment is for people in Iraq. You think judgment is for people in Libya or Palestine, right? But not for you. Or Syria, right? Or Somalia, or Colombia, or somewhere, right? You think judgment is for those people. You think bad things should happen to those people. Like you should be able to bomb them, economic embargo, starve them to death, right? Et cetera, et cetera. But if something happens to you, well, that's something evil and sinister. What? That's their mentality. If it happens to us, it's evil and sinister. If we do it to someone else, it's freedom, democracy, and justice, and the will of God. A very, weird, dangerous, sick way to look at the world. Stand by.
The best that we could find was this cave. And the dream, as short as it is, it was a major emphasis on the atmosphere of what we were feeling, but also what I knew what was happening. So anyways, we're climbing in this cave. We're trying to get deeper and deeper and further in. And the person that was pursuing us had this major status of superiority, like a higher status, a higher level person. Again, emphasis on sinister. It was terrifying. And they also had their people that they were in charge of that were also coming after us. So we knew that a big group that he was in charge of was coming after us. And it was really scary. It was pretty freaky.
So what did she describe? These people are so ignorant, they don't understand what they're seeing. She described the prophecy in the book of Joel. Did you know that? She described the prophecy in the book of Joel about the armies of the Lord of hosts. You see? She just described that. Matter of fact, let me pull it up for you, because I like receipts. So let's pull it up and show you that. I don't want to quote things like this woman and then I don't show you exactly what I'm talking about. So it's going to take a little longer, but bear with me, stand by. So what she was describing was, what the woman was describing was actually the prophecy of Joel. It starts 2 and 2. A day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people, a strong that have not been ever, like neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. It's talking about an army, right? A fire devoured before them, and behind them a flame burned, and the land is as a garden of Eden, before them and behind them a desolate wilderness, yea, and nothing shall escape them. So basically in Joel 2 it describes the army of the Lord of hosts, right? So-called, the one mistakenly called Jesus Christ by many of these sick people. And so that's what she's describing, you see. She's describing the army that they're talking about in Joel. So here in Joel 2 and 5 it says, like the noise of chariots on the top of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame, of a fire that devours stubble, as a strong people set in a battle array. So it talks about the army. That's a battle array as an army, right? So Joel is a prophecy describing the army that is coming, that is led by the Lord of hosts, as described in the Bible, which is Lord of hosts or Jesus Christ, Son of Man. These are titles for the same person. this individual, Lord of hosts, means general of an army in heaven and on earth. That's the definition of the term Lord of hosts. You see Jesus described, you see the two descriptors of the Messiah in the Bible, Jesus Christ, meaning anointed Messiah, and then Lord of hosts, describing his title. So another part of his title. So he has, many titles. One being Jesus Christ, which means anointed Messiah, um, and then Lord of hosts, meaning general of the army. Now, this is the army described in Joel 2 and 5 that he is the head of. And it talks about a strong people set in a battle array. Okay? And it says there's never been an army seen like this on earth before. So that lets you know that these are not people from earth, right? Now this describes this woman, this woman on your screen, right? Before their face the people shall be much pain, all faces shall gather blackness. It's not talking about her becoming a black person, right? So what it's saying is that it's like her. She said in the dream, they were hiding, they were afraid. They saw the forces of God as sinister and evil. Of course you would. If Jesus Christ came, you would have to call him a communist, right? Why? Because he would get rid of, Jesus Christ is a monarch. He would get rid of all, all of the systems on earth. So you would consider Jesus Christ an evil, sinister, tyrant, communist monarch or something, right? And you would have to fight and kill him, or you would try to anyway. And that's what she said. She said, these people were sinister and evil. They were pursuing us because we were Christians. Miss, they were not pursuing you because you were a Christian. They're not going to pursue you because you're Christian. They're going to pursue you because of who you are. They're not pursuing you. Christian is a religious, in America, Christian is a racist, fascist, white supremacist cult group. They're not pursuing you. Well, that's part of why they'll be pursuing you, but that's really not why they're pursuing you. They're pursuing you because of who you are. Not because you're you're in this cult group called Christianity, right? Because you're a Catholic, or you're a Lutheran, or a Baptist. That's not why he's going to be pursuing you, you see? And it says, before their face there'll be much pain. She said she was in pain. They were hiding from the sinister forces led by this man. You were right, the Lord of hosts. Jesus, so-called Jesus Christ. The Lord of hosts is his title, the general of the army. That means, for the slow bus, that means general of the army in heaven and on earth. Jesus Christ is mean anointed Messiah. So these things that you see aren't a person's name, they're his titles. Jesus Christ, the anointed Messiah. He's also referred to as the Lord of hosts, which means the general of the army in heaven and on earth. You can look it up. So these are titles. These are not anybody's name. It goes on to say, and I quote, when he appears, he has a name written on his army jacket that nobody knows on the earth. I mean, these are things written down. This is I'm sorry, this is kindergarten stuff. The Bible at a certain level has kindergarten reading. It's first grade, second grade, third grade. It's elementary school reading, elementary stuff. How people miss this shit is beyond me. That comes from the derangement syndrome, particularly like in places like America, the Hispanics, the Catholics, all these groups. This total delusion, because on a certain level, the Bible is elementary reading. A sixth grader could figure it out, could read it, and then they'll tell you, say something like, well, interpretation. Where is that in the Bible that you interpret it differently? That's not written in the Bible. It's only, you just read it and it is what it is. There's no interpretation. That comes from deluded people. But let me go on. I digress. Stand by. More proof of that, of what she saw in her dream coincides with, she said, I got confirmation. The only confirmation is the Bible, right? The prophecy itself. And then when you get feedback when something happens. Joel 2 and 7, they shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. This is an army. And they shall march every one in his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Remember, she said in the dream, they were led by a man, and they were pursuing us. This is what she saw. She saw Joel 2 and 7 coming true in the end times, which we are in now. And she saw them, her and her people, being pursued by the Lord of hosts and his armies, so much that they had to go hide in caves. That nuclear weapons didn't save them. You see, they got nuclear weapons. How come they threatening everybody? We'll nuke you. The Israelis are threatening everybody. We'll nuke Iran. We'll nuke anybody who comes gets in our way, right? Well, how come your nuclear weapons didn't save you in the dream from this force that's pursuing you? How come your army and your tanks didn't save you in this dream, right? They're always having these dreams where they say they were troubled, but none of their weapons and stuff helped them. Where's your army? Why are you hiding in a cave from this man and his armies, right? Let's take a look at the next verse. Here it says in Joel 2 and 8, neither shall one thrust another. It said, they shall not make a mistake. They shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. Who do you know that can get stabbed with a sword but not be wounded? So Joel saw in a dream, he saw these super soldiers that they were shooting them and hitting them with swords or whatever, right? Hitting them with weapons, but they couldn't be hurt by the weapons that they had. You see, who do you know that can do that on earth? Nobody. This is God's army. This is the army of the Lord of hosts, the one you call Jesus Christ, coming with an army of soldiers, super soldiers, that cannot be wounded. You're not going to shoot them, you're not going to nuke them, and you're not going to run away, you're not going to jump in your tank or your armored vehicle and stop them. That's what Joel was telling you. They can't be wounded. That means you're not dealing with humans. You're not dealing with Negroes. You're not dealing with the Palestinians. You're dealing with something else. A bigger fish is going to jump into the pond with you. And it's not the Antichrist, right? I just want to go over that. Again, these are super soldiers. They shall run to and from through your cities. They shall run up a wall, and they shall climb upon your houses and enter the windows like a thief. These people will jump through the second and third floor window of your homes where you're hiding at and chase you out, and that's why these people are hiding in caves. They going into places to hide, and they figure they board up the windows. Well, they jumping on the roof and blowing holes and coming through the roofs. They're coming through second, third floor windows, right? Who do you know that can do that? These are super soldiers. These are the soldiers that are brought by Christ, the one that people call angels. You see? I'm gonna try to get through this quick. The earth shall quake before them, and the heavens shall tremble, and the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. You see? It's gonna be a dark day in the day of the Lord of hosts, Jesus Christ, whatever you want to call him. It's gonna be a day of war. Say the whole earth is gonna shake. Right? Said everything in the heavens shall tremble. Like this woman, she said, I was afraid. I was so afraid we were hiding in caves. We hide from the Lord of hosts. And then what did she do? She calls him the Antichrist. Let me show you.
So anyways, and then when I woke up from the dream, my heart was just pounding. Like, I was feeling it. It was intense. I looked at the clock and I'm like, wow, it's already been an hour and it's insane. But I knew that I knew it was important at the moment I woke up as groggy and as in much of a stupor, like sleep stupor that I was in. I knew that I knew. I knew what the truth was. And I knew it was important.
Why she keep laughing? It's like the Joker. So she talks about another dream she saw from another woman, just like her, right? Who and so they see, like I showed you in Joel 2, in the prophecy of Joel, they they're seeing the salvation event. They're seeing salvation as the Antichrist. You have to understand like what's going on psychologically and like sociologically, psychologically with these people. You see, and how their view of the world and their psychology and their it informs their metaphysics and their cosmology. And so when when the Bible says the Lord of hosts, so-called Jesus Christ, etc., right? Which it says in the Bible, he shall have many titles and many names, right? Many titles, but no one shall know his name. So Jesus Christ, the Lord of hosts, right? And it talks about the event. Joel describes what will happen. So you don't have to. He gave you a preview of basically a movie preview of what he's going to do, and he tells you why in the book of Joel. For some reason, people don't get that. I don't know why. But Ezra talks about it, and Joel talk about it, and they describe the same thing. They don't contradict each other. And Daniel talks about it as well, others, John and Revelations. But um, so he describes in Joel the events. They see these events as these people. They see these events as the Antichrist, right? They see them being dealt with as an attack by the Antichrist. They don't see the armies because at no point will these people tell you, well, here's the prophecy of Joel. At no point will any of these people ever tell you in any of these dreams that they're having. They always come up with the rapture or I was being attacked by the Antichrist. When you say, okay, where is that in the Bible? But then when you go to the book of Joel or Ezra, then you say, well, where is this in your dreams? In your precognitive dreams, your so-called prophetic dreams, where does any of that line up with any of the prophecies in the Bible if it's so prophetic? Where? I just got a question. And it doesn't. Like none of the shit that they ever dream about or talk about lines up with the Bible, lines up with the book of Joel, lines up with the prophecies of Revelations or Joel or Daniel or any of that. They'll just make up some shit and then just start talking. You see? So let me put it in proper context. What her and this woman saw was them being pursued by the Lord of hosts and the armies that I showed you in the book of Joel. It talked about them pursuing people, jumping through their windows, destroying their, running through their cities, destroying their cities. It talked about in Joel them trying to resist the Lord of hosts army and fighting back, but not being able to kill them easily, not being able to just shoot them or stab them. And them, I guess they had armor and they couldn't penetrate it. So they had to run and hide in caves to try to get away from the Lord of hosts. And then she said they even pursued them into these caves. They found them and pursued them into these caves, you see. And in their mind, they said, well, they're doing this to us because we're Christians. It's not why. No one cares about that. The Antichrist, you have to understand something. The Antichrist is not pursuing the people that these people, right? The real Antichrist and his the Satan and his seed on earth. They're not pursuing people because they're Christian. You see? If you read the Bible, why is the Antichrist actually pursuing people? Because of their bloodline. Why did King Herod try to kill the babies? He tried to kill them because of their bloodline. He didn't try to kill them because of their religion. Why did in Egypt, same thing. Why were they trying to kill the Hebrew babies? Why was he trying to kill the babies? Why did he enslave the people? Was it because of their religion? No, it was because of their bloodline. There's no place in the Bible that it talks about someone being pursued because of their religious beliefs. That's something made up. Religion doesn't even exist in the Bible. The Bible is not about religion. But they think it is, and they will tell you that this is what this is about. The Antichrist is after people because of what their bloodline is. Bloodline, race, genealogy, etc., etc., etc. Has nothing to do with religion. The Bible is not a religious book. They created a religion called Catholicism or Protestants, etc., etc. You have to understand that to understand the true meaning of the prophecies. So you can't understand the prophecies until you understand the basis for the cosmology, the theology, or the metaphysics. You can't understand any of that. You'll come up with shit like this lady and talk about you'll see a precognitive dream of the book of Joel coming true, and you'll see it as the Antichrist. That's not the Antichrist. It is the Lord of hosts bringing judgment on you, not because you're a Christian. He does not care about that. You see? Because the Lord of hosts, Jesus Christ is not a Christian. Right? He wouldn't be a Christian. Where in the Bible it says Jesus Christ is a Christian? He's not a Christian in that sense. You see? He doesn't have a religion. He's not a Protestant and a Catholic and a Baptist and a Mormon, all of this kind of shit. Jesus Christ's not a part of any of that. He's not going to be like, all right, well, let me get the Mormons over here. Hey, you Baptists, you guys come over here. Where does it say he made all that up in the Bible? He didn't. He's looking for and coming to avenge his people. Not Protestants and Mormons and Baptists and Catholics. You see? And so when you don't understand the basic metaphysics of the Bible, the basic tenets of prophecy and law in the Bible, then you'll misinterpret everything down to your own precognitive dreams. And so what her and other people are seeing, they're mistaking their judgment and the dreams. I'm gonna say this and wrap this. I'll push the link. I'll post the link. You can kind of check that out. But they're mistaking their precognitive dreams of judgment on her and her people for the wicked things they've done, as Jesus Christ and that's what's going to happen. They're going to look at the Lord of hosts. I don't even like using Jesus Christ because it's such a, they're going to look at the Lord of hosts, the Son of Man, and they're going to see the Antichrist. But other people will see him as a savior, right? They will see it as salvation. But they're going to see it as an attack by the Antichrist, which makes sense, you see? Because Jesus even said that in the Bible. He said, bring those to me that wish that I should not rule over them, and slay them and kill them here in front of me. You see? So Many people will, which makes sense. Do you think, is Donald Trump going to give up all of his buildings to when the Lord of Hosts comes? Going to give up his businesses? Are they just going to surrender their nuclear weapons and say, hey, are they going to just give up their corporations and companies? Are they going to give up their military industrial complex and say, Jesus is here, yay! We all live under the monarch, Jesus, known as Jesus Christ, aka the Lord of Hosts, aka the Son of Man. Are they just going to be like, yay, we surrender everything? No, they're not. They're going to fight to the death, and they're going to say, Jesus Christ is the Antichrist. They're going to say the Lord of Hosts is the Antichrist. We're not giving any of this stuff up. If you want it, take it. If you want it, take it from us. Excuse me. You see? They're going to tell you the Lord of Hosts is the Antichrist, like this woman is telling you. She's saying the Lord of Hosts is the Antichrist. That's what they're going to tell you. And if you are deceived, as the Bible says, there shall be a great deception, then you'll try to fight back too. You'll try to fight the Lord of Hosts, and you'll label the Lord of Hosts the Antichrist, right? While you're looking right at the Satans and the Antichrist. You're looking right at them. And you don't even see it. He's not coming, they're here. You're looking at them and bomb churches and kill Semites in churches in the home of so-called Jesus Christ. But you don't see anything wrong with that. You don't see that as the work of the Antichrist. You see that as the work of God's chosen people. You are sick and deluded. And you will label, you've already labeled the Antichrist Christians. And so when the real Lord of Hosts comes, when the real Jesus Christ shows up, then you have no problem labeling him the Antichrist. When you're labeling the synagogue of Satan God's chosen people. You understand that? It's real simple. You're fucking deluded. You've already labeled the synagogue of Satan God's chosen people and aligned with them against Semites. You've labeled Semites anti-Semites. You've already flipped the fucking script. So you telling me you can't see that they're gonna label the Messiah, so-called Jesus Christ, aka the Lord of Hosts, aka the Son of Man? You telling me you can't see what they're gonna do? You can't see that this is the work of Satan, the Antichrist already, and that there is no Antichrist coming? You're fucking stupid and brain dead. Because I just laid it out for you. It's real simple. It's elementary. It's elementary school shit. It's not complicated. It's not an interpretation or any of that. It's just the facts. Like the Bible said, the wicked shall never understand. Isn't this true? Because it's elementary school shit. There is no Antichrist coming to chase you into a cave, white lady. There is no Satan coming to chase you into a cave. The only person is going to be chasing you into a cave where you'll be hiding out with all the other people that look like you, who have done what you've done, are people like you. I won't be hiding in a cave. I won't have to. What do I have to hide for? You see? I won't be hiding in no cave, but you will be. You see? I don't have anything to fear. My fear is now. I fear now that they won't be stopped. My fear is now. The Palestinians, the Semites in Palestine, their fear is now. Their fear won't be when the Lord of Hosts enters the earth atmosphere with his ships. and lays waste to this place instantly, immediately. That's salvation. If a ship pulled up over Tel Aviv right now and launched a blue-green laser beam and disintegrated Tel Aviv, right? And the army jumped out of those ships and started pounding Tel Aviv, wouldn't that be that mean the Palestinian would be saved? The Semite in Palestine, the Christian Semite in Palestine, they would be saved, wouldn't they? Absolutely. That would be salvation. You see? So what some people see as the Antichrist and the devil, the other people see as salvation. Everybody doesn't have the same God. Everybody's cosmology and metaphysics is not the same. That's the problem. And to understand this, you have to understand that. To understand what's happening in these last days, you have to understand that. It's real simple. It's elementary. You see? What they say, one man terrorist is another man freedom fighter. The Lord of hosts will be a freedom fighter for me, but the Antichrist for this woman. You see? It's different. We're looking at the same thing, but it's just different based on who you are and where you come from, not what your religion is. Your bloodline and your lineage, not what your religion is. This has nothing to do with religion. You see? This is not about religion. In the book of Joel, I can prove this. Let me prove it to you real quick. I'm going to end on that. I'm going to stay in Joel, and I'm going to end on this. Show you this is not about religion. Stand by. So just a few verses real quick before I wrap. I didn't want to make this long, but, it is what it is. I will gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Where's Jehoshaphat? Well, that's where they're bombing right now in Gaza Strip, right outside the Gaza Strip and outside the West Bank, where they're slaughtering people in their homes, right? The synagogue of Satan. And I will plead with them for my people, my heritage. That's not a religion. Is heritage a religion? No, what is heritage? Heritage is a bloodline. It's not a religion. Anybody can be a Christian. Anybody can, you got white, Chinese people, Korean. I saw a Korean Christian church, Hispanic Christian church. Hispanic's not a race, by the way. Right? You got Protestants, Catholics, all kinds. Is any of that heritage? No. Anybody can be any of these groups. Heritage is a race of people, a genealogy, a bloodline. That's your heritage. Your heritage is not your religion. Unless you're just stupid, right? And so he says, I will gather them in the Jehoshaphat, where they're bombing the churches right now, blowing them to bits. But they say the Antichrist is coming, right? Well, if the Antichrist is coming, who is leveling the third oldest church in Christianity? Who just blew up the third oldest church in Christianity while killing old women inside of the church? If the Antichrist is coming. Who are those people? And he said, I will plead with them for my people, my heritage, Israel, who you have scattered among the nations. You see? So is the Israelis scattered among the nations, or are they in the state of Israel? They're in the state of Israel, bombing the shit out of, calling people anti-Semites, coming from Europe where there are no Semites, bombing anti-Semites, blowing up churches, and calling people anti-Semitic. They have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Well, who parted up? Who parted? This is the prophecy. Like I said, this is elementary school stuff. Who parted the state of Israel? It was Palestine. And it's been Palestine for thousands of years, right? Who parted it up? Well, that would be America and Europe and the Europeans. They split it into the West Bank. They split it into the Gaza Strip. And they split it into the state of Israel. Well, that's three parts. Who split the United States? Well, that would be Europeans. They split it into 50 states. It wasn't black people from Africa that did it. You have scattered my people among the nations and parted my land. Who has been scattered in Brazil and in America and in Mexico and in Colombia and in you name it? Who's been scattered against their will? This is elementary school stuff, people. I didn't want to make this long, but you know, among the nations and parted my land. Who's done this? Is this about a religion? It's not about religion. If you think that, you're stupid. You're just stupid. There's no hope for you. You just wait for your judgment, right? This is not about religion. And they have cast lots for my people. And they have given a boy for a harlot, gay marriage, Obama, and sold a girl for wine to drink that they might drink. Who's selling boys and girls in America? Was it black people? Who was butt breaking little boys in America? You see, this is not about religion. No, the Lord of hosts does not give a damn if you're a Christian. He is not going to say, where are my Christians at? That is not what's going to happen. If you think that, you never read the Bible. You're just stupid. You're a deluded, crazy American. Right? He goes on to say, and you see it more here in Joel, right? Then you can see this is not about religion. I don't want to belabor the point, but I did want to point that out. This went way too long. But when he asks, will you render me a recompense? What is he talking about? Reparations. Will you give me reparations? Right? And he says, you won't. So basically he's saying, you're not going to give me reparations. So I'm going to return what you've done upon your own head. That's what he says in this verse. You see? You have taken my silver, gold, carried them into your temples. You've taken all my goodly and pleasant things, right? And the children also of Judah and Jerusalem you sold unto the Greeks, that they might take them far from their border. Is that got anything to do with your being a Christian? This is your judgment written down in the book of Joel that's been here for hundreds of years. You do not have to reinterpret it. You don't have to figure it out. It's not about you being a Christian. Christianity has nothing to do with what's about to happen to you people, to this planet. The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem, right? You have sold unto the Grecians, that they might remove them from their borders. Who is removing the Palestinian from their borders right now? In Jerusalem, the Semites in Jerusalem. Who removed them from their borders? Well, that would be the Greeks. That would be the people that came from Europe. Greece is in Europe. It's right here. It's elementary school stuff, right? You sold the people, right? The children and descendants of Judah and the descendants of Jerusalem. You sold them, you took their land, and you removed them from their borders, and you sent them into Syria, and you sent them into Jordan, and you sent them into America, and you sent them into West Bank, and you sent them into Gaza Strip, so that you could bomb them and turn them into a blot of blood on the mud, into a pile of blood, dust, and mud. Right? It's real. I mean, I don't understand. Like, this is elementary school stuff. You have to be super stupid not to get it in these last days. This is not about religion. No one's going to be looking for a Christian. You're not going to be chased. I'm going to end on this. You're not going to be chased into caves and be pursued and hunted and pulled and drug out of those caves and destroyed because you're a Christian, man. Sir. But you'll figure that out when the time comes. I mean, me talking about this and breaking this down and kind of going over it is not going to convince anybody. What will convince you is what will happen, you know, in the next over the next, you know, I'd say months and years, you know, coming months and years will convince you. You know, people. One thing I do believe, people learn the hard way. That's all I got.